It's Stuart Yoshida of OokTown Podcast. OokTown Podcast and Stuart Yoshida. It is super awesome. Yay.
Yay, Doug. Welcome, patrons and listeners, to the OokTown Podcast, where we talk about all things ukulele. Have we got a show for you today? It's all going to be about music therapy and kids and whatever else comes up, because you know that happens a lot. And I am really excited to have first-time guests. We always love first-time guests. President of the Ukulele Kids Club, Stephanie Epstein. You know what? Epstein. You know what I forgot to do? We had all that time ahead of the show. I usually ask how to pronounce your name, and I didn't. Stephanie, welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's Brown, just like it's spelled.
It's okay. All right. Thank you, Doug. And then also longtime regular podcast guest, we have Heide Swedberg. Welcome, Heide. And of course, my cohort and co-host, Doug Brown of the Denver Ukulele Community.
Yes, indeed. Hey, Stuart, how's it going?
It is going well, and we have lots to talk about music therapy. And before we do that, I wanted to give some shout outs, a couple of them that Doug, you know about, so you can fill this in. But we want to give a shout out to the fine folks at the Ukulele Game Show Happy Hour, which happens every other Friday at 5 p.m. Denver time.
Yes,
Doug,
indeed.
you played there. How was it?
They are out of Boston, and yes, and there's of course a link in the show notes. But they've got a game show, and it's split into two rounds, and they're all pretty ukulele related. I mean, they get out far afield every once in a while, but that's okay. But I played last week. Had a fantastic time. So
wow.
I suggest that to everybody.
I love that idea of a ukulele game show. Well, there's also a shout out to the wonderful folks at the Pandemic Pluckers in London. Yeah, say that very carefully.
Yes,
they're
indeed.
Still going strong, and you
on purpose. There's nothing that they love more than making you almost swear.
All those Brits. You know, Doug, you're like becoming a regular guest host on all of these virtual gatherings, ukulele gatherings. Is this a new job you've picked up? A new?
Well, you know, it's actually all of them have just terrific hosts. So you know, I'm not even co-host on any of these. I'm just that obnoxious guy from Denver that shows up every once in a while. So.
Well, I think you do don't you do the Oregon one? Didn't you do a substitute?
Well, I'm a great substitute teacher actually at Swallow Hill, the music school here in Denver. I've been a substitute teacher a couple times there for ukulele courses.
Wow.
And the teacher comes back and goes, yeah, okay, what'd you guys learn? They said, nothing, but he did magic tricks, and he taught us how to spin our ukulele around on the headstock. It was great.
You're like Jack Black in School of Rock. That's what you are.
Exactly. That's nothing to aspire to, but yes.
Okay. All right. And look, we have different shirts on. Thank you, Doug. Mm-hmm. I have my Hawaii 5-0 shirts. Hey, and I want to give a shout out because Heide and I are like brother and sister. We grew up in the same hometown in Hawaii, so that's kind of cool. Kailua, Hawaii. Yes. And unfortunately, Hawaii 5-0 had its last season this year. Did you know that? That's a little bit of trivia. 10 years, I think, which I wonder, I didn't look it up. That might be longer than the original Hawaii 5-0 run.
It probably was, but you know, it'll be back.
Yeah.
Just wait a couple of years. It doesn't take long.
Cool. All right, and a couple more shout outs, and then we'll get into our guests here. Patron James Elliott and the Ukulele Friends Ohana. Now, why did they name that the Ukulele Friends? Doug, because it's the UFO group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing more important than a good acronym.
That's right. And finally, Cynthia Kinnunen, she couldn't make it this time, and she's got a lot of irons in the fire. Wow. Also, heal up. So, I gotta. Sorry to bring this up, but Cynthia also has an injury too. I think it's a rotor cuff, right?
Yeah, I think she
Yeah.
just had some surgery.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, heal, Cynthia.
Yeah. Heal up, Cynthia, and same to you, Heidi, because I know you're not wanting us to bring this up, but I will anyway.
Because that's what good hosts do.
That's what good hosts do. But you broke your wrist. Oh
I
my
did.
gosh.
I have a cast on.
Oh my gosh. What did Daniel do that you had to hit him so hard?
Well, it wasn't the dishes. Let's just say that.
Okay. All right. Speaking
I
of Daniel,
heard that
he's
you were playing basketball, and Shaquille O'Neal came in the key, and you
And you just-
strong-armed him. And
right, and that's
yeah.
what it blew off the wrist.
I think those are all basketball terms. I don't know.
I don't know either.
So the original run of Hawaii Five-0 went for 12 seasons. So,
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
From
Wow.
1968 through 1979.
Wow.
Stuart, did they play the Hawaii Five-0 theme song in the school that you went to?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like before announcements every day?
I don't know about announcements, but at the whenever they had the school gathering, yeah, those all school things, yeah, a lot of times the band would play that. And
My
but that
sister
did-
was at Kai High, and she recalls them playing it before announcements over the PA system.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't do that, but at football games and stuff, when the band would go on the field, a lot of times they would do that. That was a
Right.
favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, they did that in Arvada, Colorado, too.
Is that right? Nice. Right on. Right on. What is this? Uh-oh, it's not streaming on YouTube. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I
Let me-
clicked on it and it still says this live event will begin in a few moments. So I'm not sure if we're on YouTube or not.
Oh, let me check. Thank you.
Yeah, it says the same thing for me, but I was going to derail everything to let you know.
Oh, bummer. Oh.
Cognito, but
Let me let's see. Let me go more.
Well, if nothing else, we can upload the completed video.
oh yeah.
Because we're
well, I don't know
recording it
because
on-
it's not recording on here. So I'm gonna
Oh.
stop the broadcast and I'm gonna try and start it again.
So it says on the thing it's recording.
Yeah, so I'm recording it to the class
Oh.
on Zoom.
All right, so it looks like it's going live. Preparing the streaming meeting. All right. So we still have this recorded. So all of those folks, Stephanie, once we finish this, I have it recorded, the audio. Yeah, because believe me, I have been through many fails on this. So we have many backups now. Not a lot, but I record it, the audio, and then, oh yeah, every once in a while, my audio doesn't go well and I have to pull it off of YouTube. So it's always good to have it there too. Okay, thanks for checking there.
Record our very first UKC Academy course that I taught. We were going to record it and post it and like all these things for everyone who couldn't attend live. And I forgot to hit the record button.
Oh yeah, that is yes. Okay.
Yep. So I've been there.
That's not even a rookie mistake. I have done that on occasion too. We're like 5 minutes in, I go, oh, hey, can we start over again? All right. Well, hopefully that started streaming now. You guys can let me know. So in any case, I am just going to bring back on Stephanie. And Stephanie, since you're a first-time guest here, tell us a little bit about yourself and the Ukulele Kids Club.
Yeah, so please have my name is Stephanie Epstein. I'm originally from upstate New York, actually, not a Florida native, but I moved down here about 8 years ago for grad school and then started the music therapy program at Holtz Children's Hospital at Jackson Memorial, which is where I still am. And I met Corey Bergman, who is the founder of the Ukulele Kids Club, a few months after I was starting my program. I had heard about the UKC from some other pediatric music therapists that I knew. So I reached out to him and introduced myself and asked if we could receive some ukulele donations. And since he was in South Florida, living in South Florida at the time, he was like, yeah, why don't I just bring them down to you in person, and that way we can meet in person and I can see where you work and we can go from there. So we met and kind of just clicked and hit it off and went from there. And soon after, I became the music therapy advisor to the Ukulele Kids Club, since I was starting my program in a hospital and kind of working through all of the politics and everything that goes along with working in a hospital. And so they would ask me a lot of questions about music therapy in general, but especially about music therapy in the hospitals. And we kind of just went from there and continued working together. And I then moved up to the vice president, or I'm sorry, the director of music therapy, and then the vice president and director of music therapy. And then I think it was last year, I've lost track of the years at this point. It's also, I feel like it's COVID, like days and times and years don't make a difference right now.
Yeah.
So sometime within the last year or so, the board appointed me to the president of the Ukulele Kids Club. So I do a lot, and not much, I feel, at the same time. But I do a lot of our outreach. I work, I really am, one of my main roles is to be the bridge between the organization and the music therapists, since I kind of have my feet on both sides of the line. I am a full-time music therapist in a pediatric hospital, so I am working full-time with all of my kids. And so I have a really unique position to be able to really help the organization see what music therapists really need. What are we experiencing in the field? What are the resources we need? What can we do? As well as being able to help the music therapists with, hey, this is what the organization can do for you. These are the resources that we have. These are the things that we're working on. And really just being able to have that really great partnership and marriage.
Wow.
And I just realized that I went on that whole thing and didn't even say what the Ukulele Kids Club was. So the Ukulele Kids Club is now an international, because we are in about 9 different countries.
Wow.
International nonprofit organization that donates ukuleles to pediatric music therapy programs. So basically, we donate to the music therapists so that we as the music therapists can utilize them with our patients in our sessions. And then we can actually give those ukuleles to the kids to take home with them. Those instruments become theirs so that they can continue working on playing. They can continue utilizing them for all of the goals that we've been working on in the hospital. And, we have a lot of kids that are chronic. So, they're coming in and out for treatments. And they bring their ukuleles back with them every time they come in, and they're excited to say, like, oh, hey, look what I learned, or hey, I heard this song and I really want to learn it. So it's really cool to be able to, give them something positive to latch onto, and to be able to have something to look forward to. I have a lot of my patients that come in and out that they always say, their parents tell me, when they're getting all of their stuff packed up and getting everything ready for their next admission, they're always like, oh, don't forget my ukulele. Like, don't forget to grab it. I have to bring it because we have to have our music therapy when we come in. So that's kind of our main mission, is to donate the ukuleles. Our secondary mission is also to advocate and support the field of music therapy. So we do have a fellowship program. So we help actually support and to expand music therapy services into the hospitals. We also provide ukulele resources on our UKC resource page. So we have apps that were created by Jonathan Baxter, who is the owner of ukefarm.com. And they're computer programs that let you create your own ukulele tablature and ukulele chord charts.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, awesome. So we kind of created a whole online resource portal, because I started presenting at different music therapy conferences on utilizing the ukulele in the clinical setting, because it's very different to I've taught regular music lessons, guitar, ukulele, piano, voice, because I have a background in music education as well. But teaching the ukulele in a therapeutic setting, especially in a hospital, is very, very different than teaching the ukulele in a ukulele lesson. We have very different goals, very different techniques. You're working with a lot of different things, a lot of different aspects and extraneous things going on. So I started presenting at music therapy conferences on how to teach others how to play who maybe have never touched an instrument, but also just how to utilize the ukulele beyond just as an accompaniment instrument. And from there, I was getting emails from people all the time saying, hey, can you send me your resources? Can you send me your resources? And so I was sending the same things, every other day. So finally I went to Corey and to our webmaster. And I was like, hey, can we just have a place where I can just dump all of my stuff and people can just take it, because I want to share all this. I want to share all of this information and all of these resources. So thus the UKC resource portal was born. So there's song sheets, there's chord charts, there's song lists. You can download the apps I was talking about to have them on your computer so you can create your own, and then you can upload them. So it kind of becomes like a crowdsourcing portal. So that's kind of one of my babies, is the resource portal, which I just absolutely love. As well as we now offer the UKC Academy, which is a series of online Zoom classes now with everything going on, taught by different ukulele instructors, music therapists, and kind of on all different things. We've had really, really beginner ukulele lessons. We had a Neil Chin taught our last course on utilizing ascended techniques. So just really trying to provide resources for not only the music therapy community, but also the general ukulele community as well. So we have a lot of projects going on. We'd also just launched our UKC Broadway initiative. So it's a group of Broadway actors, singers, dancers who have learned about the UKC and want to help support. So they've kind of come together to create this whole other initiative. And so they're doing, so they
Very
do,
cool.
it's really cool. We've met some really incredible performers. And they were doing, some of them have been doing live concerts. Some of them have been doing live interviews. We have one who is designing some custom UKC Broadway t-shirts that are going to sell. So there's a lot of really, really cool things on the pipeline that are coming up.
Cool. Now,
Speaking
when you say
of that,
Broadway, go ahead.
Where would we go if we wanted to get a t-shirt with UKC stuff or a hat or something like that? Could we go just maybe on your website, and maybe there would be a link to that website in the show notes?
So any of the general UKC merchandise, if you will, can be purchased right on the website, theukc.org. Really the best place to get all of the update is social media. We have an absolutely incredible social media guru, Marlene, who's also our COO. And so really Facebook and Instagram are really our places where we constantly are putting everything up there. All of the concerts, all of the interviews, all of the, we have live from the Clubhouse concerts every Saturday night. So there's tons and tons of events and things going on. So that's definitely the best place to be able to find all of them.
So if I'm assuming we can find the Instagram links, and actually I think probably Doug will find them, the Instagram and Facebook links, and we can put those in the show notes too.
Those are already in the show notes.
Already.
Look at
Well,
you.
I want to bring in Heidi here, and maybe just give us, and we'll kind of delve into the more of the research behind it, because I want to get into that, but just more of the anecdotal thing. So Heidi, when you've been working with ukulele, teaching that with kids and things too, I think. So what are some of the anecdotal things that you have seen for the ukulele? Why is that so valuable to have with kids?
Well, music, we know that music supports everything that goes on in our brains. The connections that happen in the brain happen better when they're lubricated by music.
That's great.
And also the incredible music is an incredible field that has everything contained within it. There's language, there's math, there's science, there's social culture, there's connections that happen in every topic. So when you learn a song, you learn not just something that you sing, and that's no small thing, because humans are the only animals that learn songs. We learn songs and sing together, you know? I mean, how amazing is that? Just right there. It's awesome. But when we learn a song, we learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the basic building block for reading. Right there, being able to keep a steady beat is the earliest indicator of literacy skills.
I'm still trying to learn how to keep a beat. So yeah.
Yeah, that explains why my drummer friend can't read. So
because
so many drummers, so little time.
I know.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. But just the whole package that music encompasses, not just the great, the good therapeutic parts of it, but the other parts of it that are, you know, math and storytelling, I think too is part of it, you know.
All of that is therapeutic. Anything that connects us as humans is therapeutic. It's therapeutic to sing with people. It makes you, it increases your sense of well-being, but it also it makes your brain connect in different ways, your left and right side, the ability to cross. There's all these things that happen with music, and especially with kids, because when you're working in early childhood music, there are so many of the early childhood milestones that you can dive into by presenting it through song. And because children learn through play. Play is the work of children. And allowing learning to be their kind of in their realm, rather than the idea of presenting mini college courses to 4-year-olds. You know, why do we expect children to sit still and learn? They don't sit still and learn. They learn by doing, by putting it in their mouths, by sticking it in their, you know. That's how kids are. They learn through play.
Yeah.
And play ultimately is what we do with an instrument. We play.
Well, you know, that is a really good point, because I think, you know, when you can mix music with learning, that would probably, again, lubricate the brain to help learn better, right?
Absolutely. I mean, think about the poetry that you remember. Did you memorize any poems that you still can recite? Probably maybe 1, maybe 2. How about songs? You can sing a song through. And songs are poetry. So if you were taught a poem as a song, you might stand a much better chance of remembering it, and remembering it for your entire life.
That's true.
The other thing that happens is, on the other end of that spectrum, you have small children, and on the other end of that spectrum are older adults with memory issues, cognitive loss.
Oh, yeah.
And what's the last thing you're left with?
I know, it's
the songs
memory
you
of the
learned
music
as a small child.
It's
And I totally, I am so adamant that we should teach children songs worthy of their old age. Because if you're going to be sitting in a nursing home thinking about Justin Bieber, your life is not going to be that rich.
No, come on. No, let's give Justin a little bit of
Metallica is what you're going for.
I don't know, but when I'm in the nursing home, I'm going to be sitting there going, bam, 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 bam.
Hey, no, it's
wanna be sedated. I'm right there with you.
That's not so
there
bad.
was a great documentary about this blues player that was in New York somewhere with a a white harmonica player, I believe it was, and the harmonica player, later became a professor and did African American studies, and then he went to look again for this guy he used to play blues with, and unfortunately, after that guy's career, he went into a nursing home, and he just went downhill. He was almost just, you know, just sitting there. It looked so depressing. But then he came by, this professor who knew him came by and brought him a guitar back. And the guy started playing again. And it was like after he started playing music again, it was incredible. The quality of life for this guy just suddenly, and he even went out and played a few more gigs.
Wow.
So it's just incredible what that music did for him. It was amazing. It was just...
Yeah, the literature that Oliver Sacks wrote about music in the brain, right? I mean,
Yes.
Oliver Sacks. Just look into what he's written about it, and
I'm sure
that's
Doug
all
is
you need.
giving us that right now. So,
Yeah.
so Stephanie, why don't we talk a little bit about some of the anecdotal things too, and then let's get into some of the theory.
Yeah.
So, what are the things? Go
Let
ahead.
me interject here. I eat my peas with honey. I've done it all my life. It makes the peas taste funny, but it keeps them on my knife. There's a poem that I knew as a kid and now know today.
Right, because there
However,
was a song.
however, so although you didn't sing it, you spoke it in a very specific rhythm. And we know that, and that's how our brains remember things. It's how we learn things, is by those different gestalts, by chunking, by organizations, by melodic contour. How did we learn our ABCs? We learned it as a song.
Right.
With the melody, with the chunking. When we talk of you wouldn't be able to just recite 26 letters in a row. Our brains can't work that way. When we learn phone numbers, we learn them usually as the first half and then the second half, because our brains chunk in that way. So even when that poem that you just recited, it wasn't melodic, but it was a very specific rhythm,
Right.
which is a huge aspect of music.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
why. And we could have an entire discussion just on the neuroscience of rhythm and how rhythm affects our brains and our bodies and our spinal cords. And I'm also a huge neuroscience geek, so we can have a whole nother podcast just on that.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
maybe we should. But yeah, the fMRIs and even though I know that it's not definitive, the fMRIs, which are they scan the brain and see what parts of the brain light up, and there's a lot of research that still needs to go in there. But when people are playing music, they notice that the parts of the brain that light up are all the same parts that are storytelling, which is really cool, and that has to be validated and peer reviewed and all that. But I think that's really cool. It just makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's the really cool thing about what's happened in the last 5 to 10 years, is that we have the medical technology now to be able to physically show what we've known for years. We know that music helps us. Music helps us feel good. Music can help with our speech and our language and our movement and our emotions. And we've known that, but we didn't know why or how. But now with the medical technology being able to do what it does, we're finally being able to see that, which is just absolutely fascinating, the studies that are coming out. And the reason why music is so effective, especially in like neuro rehab, are all of those shared and similar areas of the brain that light up when we're engaging in different musical tasks. One really good example is Gabrielle Giffords, the congresswoman who was shot a number of years ago.
Yeah.
And she actually just put a post out of her playing the French horn and talked about music therapy, because where she was shot is her speech and language center. So she wasn't able to speak. But melody and melodic contour is processed in a different area of the brain than just speech and language. So basically, as music therapists, what we do is I always describe it, if any of you have ever been to South Florida and been on 95, it's a mess. So we say there's an accident on 95, as there always is, or any highway. You can't go through it. That's kind of what happens in our brains when we have, we have a stroke, we have a traumatic brain injury, anything of the sort. We can't go through it. But what we can do with those neural pathways is that we can help reroute them around that accident. And that's
Wow.
how what we can do with rhythm and with melody,
That
because
is so
those are
cool.
because they're processed in different areas than just the speech and language. So we reroute those neural pathways to go around the damaged area, get to where it needs to go. Once we have that established, we can slowly fade the music portion out. So all that's left is the functional behavior or the speech.
Wow.
So she worked really, really closely with music therapists all throughout her recovery. There was a fabulous documentary, I believe ABC News did it during her recovery.
I have a link to that very article in the show notes. So
I didn't even understand that.
Wow.
But
Hey,
yeah, but there's really, really fantastic. You know, that's just one story of millions.
That's a very cool story. And for those of you living in Colorado, I would say I-25, that would be the one where, you know, you have a little accident there and it gets backed up, definitely. And Heidi, in California, what would that be for you? Is that the I-5 or the 10?
Oh no, you go to the 5, the 101. My brother lives out there. I know all about all of those.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, there's no trip which is a single highway trip in Los Angeles. 10 to the 1, 10 to the 101 to the 405, and then you exit at Fairfax. Yeah, it's always, and but routing, yeah, it's all.
Yeah, rerouting is that is so cool. And you know, even rap music, where you're reciting and you have that rhythm, and they just have, oh man, you know, when you listen to a good rap, you know what's just impressive to me is when someone can freestyle, where you just give them words. So, you know, start off with this word, you know, and when you listen to Hamilton and Lin-Manuel's rap that he puts in there, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I love looking up like YouTube videos of him just freestyling on like talk shows and stuff, because he's just on a whole nother planet when it comes to that.
Yeah. So those kind of stories, what are some of the advantages then of this music therapy, using that, you know, in the context of speech therapy or kids, you know, what would you say their advantages? Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. I mean, the advantages, the list is miles long, really. I think, and then, you know, especially if we're talking just about in the pediatric setting, there are so many, kind of like what Heidi was talking about earlier, how music just affects and can help in so many different areas. That's what music therapy looks like in the hospital. Because I always have people ask me like, oh, what's your typical day look like? And I'm like, actually no such thing. Because, you know, in a hospital, you know, I may have an idea of who I'm going to go see, but I have no idea. Half the time I get called to procedures, or I get called and, oh, so-and-so just came in and they're dying to see you, or, oh, so-and-so is having a lot of pain or a lot of stress or anxiety, they're freaking out. So, you know, most of the time it's just kind of on the cuff and going. But I work really, really closely with a lot of our physical therapists and occupational therapists to be co-treating during their sessions. So whether it's using music as a cueing agent, so getting them to be doing their movements or doing their walking on the rhythms. We had, I think in the last 2 years or so, we had a couple little girls all in at the same time, you know, 3, 4, 5 years old, all transplant patients, and they needed to be up and walking. They needed to be moving for their, you know, for their rehab and for their recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they didn't want to, because they're toddlers and young children. So they don't want to do what they don't want to do when they don't want to do it. You know, but of course they're experiencing a lot of pain and a lot of nausea and a lot of the really unpleasant symptoms. So we would have princess parades for their PT. And so we would get all dressed up. We had tutus and leis and sunglasses, and we'd all get dressed up, and we would get all the girls up, and we would sing every Disney princess song you could ever possibly imagine. I'm also a huge Disney nerd, so I was just in seventh heaven. And we would do our princess parades around the unit. And for them, like Heidi was saying, it was play. They weren't thinking, okay, I'm doing my laps because I have to do my physical therapy today. We were having a parade. We were singing to all of the nurses and all the other patients as we walked by their rooms. It becomes play for them. So it's not therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I was working with a patient the other day that they were working on, he had a heart transplant and has had a lot of complications. So he's been bedridden for a very long time now. So they were just doing just passive range of motion and stretching, which is very uncomfortable for him. So just using, he was a big Beatles fan, so we did an entire session of Beatles. And so just using music to help him relax and just tune into something that just makes him a little bit happier. So it was more, not passive per se, but just using music as a distraction and as a motivation and as a motivator. So, music can work in so many different ways. We use music. I do a lot of procedural support. So if they're going to be doing procedures where they don't, either they can't or they don't want to sedate the patient because they don't want to do all that extra medication. A lot of times I'll go in and work with the patient and the family and to see how they're going to cope best. Do they want to just close their eyes and relax and just zone out? We do that, and we'll do, I might be singing, I might be just improvising on, we have a little drum called a happy drum, which look it up if you haven't, because it is the most relaxing sound ever.
Right?
Yes, it's HAPI.
HAPI. Oh, happy,
Yeah,
not happy. Okay.
happy drum.
Mm.
Yeah, I sometimes I also get told a lot by our nurses and doctors that it's more for them than it is for the patient because
Right. It
because
distract
it
the parents and the
yeah,
and the
well, and it
yeah.
relaxes them so much as the medical professionals trying to be doing these procedures.
Yeah.
If
Wow.
the anxiety in the room is so high, if you're trying to place a line on a child who is moving and screaming, it's going to cause a lot of anxiety for you as the medical provider. So if we can have everybody relaxed, it
Yeah.
just makes it such a better environment.
But that's so cool that to do those techniques. And it kind of reminds me of things that Heidi, you've been doing as a performer. So I really want to see Heidi do one of her classes or something. But there's a lot of performance in there and using the instruments in there. So what are kind of some of the things that you've done? Because that seems like there's
Well, one of my
some
favorite
applicability.
jobs that I've done was going into hospitals, into the pediatric wards, and going from, especially the sections where I got to go from room to room to kids who were too sick to come to, I'd go and do concerts, but the room to room stuff was my favorite because I was able to walk into a room and Daniel would come with me because my partner, by the way, Stephanie, is a beautiful musician, but he's also right now driving back from New Mexico. So he's in his car,
Oh,
going
wow.
90 miles an hour to come home, and I'm so happy. But so Daniel and I would go into different rooms at Cedar Sinai and figure out. Our job was to go in and make music. And I'm not a music therapist. I would have loved to have been, but it would take me as long to get a certificate to be a music therapist as it would to be a lawyer at this point. So I'm too old to go backwards. I wish I'd gotten a degree when I was young enough. But we walk into every room and figure out what's the right song. And I have a whole bunch of kids songs from around the world in my head. So in Los Angeles, you walk into a hospital room and they might be Tagalog speakers, they might be Korean speakers, and there's a lot of Spanish speakers. So we go in there and figure out, do these people need to play? Do these people need a lullaby? Does this kid want to hear a story? And work that into the music in the room, and it was just so amazingly rewarding to walk out of there after having even only 5 or 10 minutes in the room with a child or a family. It was just such an amazing gift we
Yeah.
felt for us to be given.
See, so this is, but you bring up a good point about, becoming a music therapist and getting all that training. would take a lot. And so we're here, we're musicians, we're players, we're performers. I'm wondering if it'd be great to have these music therapists that are already embedded in these locations, team up with folks like you, because then you can just, they can just say, hey, Heidi, here's what we need in this room. We need a little bit of Disney music, and then you can do the Disney. I mean, you know what I mean, but just coach on what could be done. I don't know what do you have there, Stephanie? Are you guys already doing that?
So there are a lot of music therapy programs across the country that do have volunteer musician programs, and they work with the volunteers, they work with the musicians. They kind of tell them, teach them enough about medical stuff so that they know if they walk in and see tubes or something that they're not completely alarmed. They kind of give them an orientation to what the hospital looks like. Things to say, things not to say, things to do, things not to do. If this should come up, this is when you need to like grab somebody and say, hey. And that's something that I have on my my wish list to be able to have right now. We have 2 full-time music therapists where I work. There's myself, and then my colleague is full-time in our NICU, in our neonatal intensive care unit. But I'm the only full-time in our pediatric unit. And right now I'm not able to manage a program like that, because you have to, you want to train these people when they're coming in. You can give them a list of, hey, here's some people that I know would love to see you today. I know I'm not going to be able to go to them. Or maybe, that's the thing about music and kids is everybody can benefit from music. I can't tell many nurses are like, oh, hey, can you go see so-and-so? They really love music and they're alone and their families aren't here. And I'm like, I would love to, but unfortunately, and my story is not unique. There are, a lot of hospital music therapy programs only have 1 or 2 or maybe a few music therapists, and there's no way we can cover the entire place. So a lot of those kids that would benefit just from singing and just from playing along and just having somebody there engaging in music with them, I don't get to see, because I have so many other patients that their needs are so much higher, unfortunately. And it's a terrible thing. It breaks my heart every day to know that I can't go and just sing with everybody.
Oh, you can't be everywhere at once. Yeah.
Right. But that's why, these volunteer musicians and these volunteer music programs are so, so important for our hospitals. So if you're a musician and you're interested in this, reach out to your local hospital. You can look for their child life department. A lot of times child life and music therapy work really closely together. Or just look on their website, see if they have a music therapy program. And get in touch with whoever and just, shoot them an email, give them a call and say, hey, this is something I'm interested in. Do you have any opportunities like this? If so, how can I get involved? If not, maybe how can I help get something started?
Well, on the UKC page, there's actually a map, and in every state or wherever, each state that has a program. So I went online, by the way, and looked in Colorado. There are actually 5 programs in Colorado, and you guys have nice little pins to show where they're at. I think that would be great, because we have a great, and I'm sure this is all over the country, but these great communities, the ukulele communities, and they love playing out at different places. I know that the Denver ukulele community plays out regularly, and definitely the Boulder ukulele community, Boulder ukulele group, Bug, and Denver ukulele community, Duck. They play out all over. So that would be great, and especially if we can team up, if they can team up with these places where they already have an established program. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, and that's something, and so the UKC is only 7 years old. We're still a very young organization, even though we donated almost 10,000 ukuleles. So we've grown a lot in a very short amount of time. But that's what you're mentioning right now is something that we really would like to be able to do more of, is work with these, because I know that there are so many ukulele groups and bands and clubs around the country, and we're involved, we're partnered and we work with some of them, but there are so many incredible ones that we don't know about. So that's something, that's definitely an area that that we have been talking about, really wanting to be able to tap into and connect with more.
So what ukulele festivals have you guys been to? Do you guys go there? Because that would be a great place, because during those ukulele conventions and festivals, that's where all the groups come together. Almost every group that has a group comes to the Denver Ukulele Festival in Denver at the Swallow Hill. So it'd be great maybe if we can get like just someone from the UKC to attend, and I bet you we could get a booth there for them, or some time slot. That would be fantastic.
That would be incredible. And actually during our we have a, we're kind of spread out. We're still a very grassroots organization. We're all kind of spread out all over the country, but we come together once a year down here in Miami to have a weekend long in-person intense business meeting weekend. And that was one of the things that came up this past January was, hey, there are so many incredible ukulele organizations around the country. How can we and we talked about the different ukulele festivals and getting involved. So that would be absolutely fantastic. There's one that we work really closely with is Snug, the Southern New Hampshire ukulele group. And they've been partnered with us for the last number of years.
Nice.
But I know that there are, like you mentioned, you have an incredible one out in Denver. So
there's one in Denver. I know there's one in Tampa. Anyway, you offline, you can email me.
Yeah.
We have so many contacts in all these ukulele festivals, and we always kid these people that like they're on the ukulele festival circuit, because there's a lot. Yeah, and Heidi, I mean, come on, Heidi, you know of all these ukulele. You go to, which one do you go to in Los Angeles?
There's a Los Angeles Ukulele Festival, but mostly I go everywhere else. I've been to the ones in Florida, the UK.
Yeah, the UK. Oh, we Mary Agnes Krell, she has the one. Right now, it's probably the biggest one.
Yeah,
the
Gnuff
Grand
is a
Northern.
fabulous festival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's a educator too, and she would be really great to hook up with in the UK. And I know she would. I would guess she would be very open to having a slot there on the Gnuff to do that.
That would be amazing. That'd be really, really amazing. We do have some hospitals that are over in the UK that are involved. They have kind of their own branch, UKC UK.
Okay, that's a mouthful.
So we
Say
do
that
have
5
people
times.
I know, right? So you have people over there too.
Nice.
Speaking of Snug, they're having Snug Fest 2020, a ukulele summer celebration, Saturday, August 29th, 2020,
Yes.
from 11 to 5. And
Yes.
Nice.
there will be a link on the webpage.
So what are kind of do you guys have workshops on the for the UKC, or because you mentioned that you guys have some programming? What do you guys have?
So we just started kind of, when the pandemic hit, basically, obviously all of our in-person events and fundraisers and concerts, all of them, of course, went completely out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So everything went online, obviously, as so many things have now. So we started the UKC Academy, which is a monthly class over Zoom. The next one will be coming up in the next few weeks. So again, follow us on social media, and you'll be able to get all of the updates.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, I've taught a few, and we have Neil Chin come in and teach one. We have a couple other ukulele players that are lined up to teach the next few. So if any of you guys are interested, let me know, and we'll get you.
Absolutely. We'd love to join you.
That would be great. Yeah, Daniel and Heidi would be fantastic. Yeah, because Daniel is a really great musician. In fact, he probably knows most of. Didn't you guys play with Neil Chin? Because he goes around.
Yeah, we love Neil. Neil is Neil
Wonderful.
is such a beautiful person, and I love watching Neil teach. We've taught together at the Midwest Youth Camp and a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
other places, I don't remember. But Neil's kind, even, straight focus, and the way he pulls people in and gets them working in small groups. He's a really beautiful teacher.
Wow.
Yeah. And my gosh, there's nothing more fun than watching Neil play.
Oh, oh,
Those faces he makes, we were going to create a chord dictionary based on Neil Chin's facial expression. E minor, this is a minor 7 chord. Because he does these just adorable things with his face when he
he
plays.
really does.
Wow.
He really does.
Yeah.
But yes, so we've been having the UKC Academy courses that are once a month. We also have the, so every week, usually Saturday evenings, we're doing not workshops, but concerts. So we're calling them our Live from the Clubhouse series, and the Clubhouse is your house. And yeah, they're all on Facebook Live, and they're all different musicians. We've had I did the very first one way back in May at the very beginning of all of this. We've had a couple Broadway performers also do them. We have a few more of them. Neil Chin did one for us. Chemo Hussey did one. Steve Grimes did one. Yep, Chemo did one. We've had them every week, so I'm missing lots and lots of people. But yeah, they're just incredible musicians from
Awesome.
place that have been doing the Live from the Clubhouse series, which has been
Wow.
really.
I'd like to see Heidi and Daniel on there one of these days. What do you think?
We'd be happy to join you.
There's so many great players there. Have you had Sarah Mizell and Craig Chi on yet? Have you contacted them?
I
That would
don't
be
think
great
so.
too.
They're
They
kind
do
of busy
great.
right now. They're moving from San Diego back to Hawaii.
I know. I am so mad at them. What the heck?
Oh, come on. It's so excellent. They get to be around family and
I
raise
know.
their
I
kids
know.
in a beautiful Hawaii. It's perfect.
I know. That's what I'm
So
talking about. That's why
happy.
I'm so mad. I'm jealous.
Oh, I see. Jealous are you?
Yeah, oh yeah. I get jealous all the time when I hear that. Yeah, I mean that would be. I'm like, that's really cool that they had the opportunity to move back. But yeah, well, once they settle down, maybe though. But they're great too, because Sarah Mizell and Craig Chi are really, really good with the technology, and that's one of the things I think that we're all trying to figure out, right? With
Yeah.
with my YouTube going live failures and things like that. By the way, Doug, are we live now or is it still not? No?
I wouldn't worry about that.
All right.
I wouldn't worry about that. We'll catch up on that.
All right, we're recording this, so we'll upload it. I think I know what I did because my computer's so old. I try and close as many windows as possible, but if I
How
close,
old is it?
it is 7 years old. It is an old
Oh.
Mac, and it's still going. It's still chugging along, but I think I closed the wrong window is what happened because I was trying to minimize my browsing. Anyway, getting back to this. So we've got
By the
yeah,
way,
go ahead.
if one were looking for maybe a collection of tunes, with the not. It seems insane to say this, but with the winter coming this way, and you were looking forward to strumming some Christmas tunes from around the world on the ukulele, where would one go to find such a book?
I'm gonna think maybe
No.
Heidi might know. I don't know, Heidi.
Christmas is just around the corner.
Oh,
I have a friend who says that on December 26th.
Exactly. I'll bet that would make a great gift too over there at Daniel Ward net, bookstore danielward.net.
As a matter of fact, yes, we put out a book, just squeaked it out the door last year, and then we spent the summer getting all the recordings together, and those are now posted on Daniel's website as well, so that you can listen to the songs, and they're really fun recordings, but they're not like heavy duty performances, because we wanted the recordings to reflect a feeling of this is what you can do with the songs. Not so much this is what we did, sit back and listen. The idea is it's welcoming people in, but we have songs that are from around the world and in a variety of languages. There's a song in Swedish, there's a song in Tagalog, a couple in Spanish. We have one from Brazil in Portuguese, and then there's a couple of songs that we also have in Hawaiian because ukulele.
Nice, of course.
So that's on Daniel's website.
So you're gonna say something, Stephanie?
Oh, I was just saying I need to check that out.
Well, let's private message and I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I also want to send you guys some of our kids' ukulele method book, which are coloring books, and those songs are all recorded. So all the recordings of both the kids' book and the Christmas book, the recordings are all free to download on Daniel's website, and they're really, really fun. On the kids' book, the recordings are really long because they're very simple songs, but in the book we don't put a lot of verses, just the one that teaches the lesson. But on the recordings, there's a whole bunch more verses, and they're really long so that you can use them as recorded music in a classroom or in a home setting or a hospital setting while you're also using the lesson in other ways. Because for kids to be able to listen to the song as they color or as they do something else or play along with them, it's really useful to have it be more than a 30-second song. So they're like 4-minute long songs that actually only have one chord in them, and they're really silly, really fun.
Wow.
And yeah, it's a pretty fun book. I think you'll like it. So I'll send you that, Stephanie.
Very cool. That'd be great.
I will hook you guys up, so you'll have her email, and you guys can correspond.
Thank you, Stuart.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's one of the things I was wondering about, so you guys can both talk about, because I know Daniel has been working on these ukulele meditation music, or I don't know, what does he call them?
Well, they're called meditations, and the reason they're called meditations is the first song that he wrote. They're etudes for ukulele, so they are pieces that which is unusual in the ukulele canon, to have pieces that don't have words. They're not. They are instrumental music, so they're very simple pieces, and they're really great for playing over and over and over in loops.
Yes.
That's the meditative part of them. But they're called, the first book was Arpeggio Meditations, which are all songs that are played arpeggiated, so one string at a time, which is way easier than it sounds. It's just boom, 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 boom. But the chords that he uses in them are beautiful. They're really lovely chords. They're really musical transitions. So although they work like etudes, kind of if you were a piano kid, it's like doing your Hanon, but they're more musical. They're more lyrical, and so they're very rewarding to play. And a lot of people have been using them in like hospice and nursing homes, playing them for people because they're so fun to listen to and so really calming. So there's the first book was Arpeggio Meditations, and the second one is Melodic Meditations, which is working more on playing melody rather than just the arpeggios, and some of them are duets that can be played together. So they're really great for group playing. They're nice, really nice. And again, there's free recordings of those on the website. And when Daniel plays them, they're really beautiful. When I play them, they're meditative. But when he plays them, they're really beautiful.
So Stephanie, that is awesome. So we will definitely have links to that. And that is a great, as Heidi mentioned, they're great Christmas gifts, because believe it or not, Christmas is just around the corner.
And I have not only the link to all of those books, but also a link back to episode 86, where you actually play a couple of those tunes. So,
Ooh,
and
I've
that of
forgotten about
course is
that.
our Whamageddon
Oh, right.
episode. So that was a good listen.
It is. Avoiding Whamageddon is so important. So Stephanie, I actually had a question about kind of that rhythmic, repetitive music, because I'm a big believer in meditation and meditative type of music. What is a connection there, and with the rhythmic things and meditation in general? How does that fit in with therapy?
So I definitely use a lot of music assisted relaxation in the hospital for primarily for pain and symptom management, but also for stress and anxiety, for work. If I have, even for like babies, infants, toddlers, to help kind of calm and soothe, because sometimes, a lot of times lullabies obviously are typically what I go to most often with our little ones. But sometimes even that's too much. That's too much stimulation. So sometimes,
Really?
yeah, because there's a lot going on with them medically. Their vitals are through the roof. Adding in more stimulation, especially if we have, if it's maybe maybe it was a baby who was born prematurely. So the kind of maybe neurologically they're not completely as developed yet. Or they could be typically developing, but there's just a lot going on, and they can get really overstimulated and really overwhelmed. And so sometimes even just singing is a little bit too much. So a lot of times, like when that happens, I'll put my instrument down and I'll just go to humming. And we're watching their vital signs. So we're talking about rhythm. So typically, we'll kind of match our tempo to what their heart rate is, so that we kind of lock in with them. We call it the ISO principle. And then we'll very, very slowly decrease the tempo, and more often than not, their vital signs will come down with us.
Wow.
But I'm thinking too, but when you were talking about your the different etudes and the songs and the things that you guys wrote, I was like, my brain was already going 100 miles an hour, like, oh my gosh, all of these ways that I can incorporate that into my own practice.
And Daniel has a book on how to play them. There you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's, and I can see so many music therapists needing resources like that, because while some of us are, so I was a voice major in college. Voice was my primary instrument, and while we obviously take years of guitar, and a lot of us end up learning the ukulele. I'm not an ukulele player. I'm not a guitar player. I'm definitely a functional player. I'm a clinical player. So a lot of those really, incredible techniques that, you hear these people playing and improvising and everything. I can't do that. There are some music therapists who can, because maybe they are guitar players or they were, ukulele players, but a lot of us aren't. That's not, and a lot of us don't really have the ability to dedicate, to be able to study these instruments so in depth when we get into our professional role, because there are so many other things we need to worry about.
Right.
So it's able to have a resource like that, to be able to, that's easily accessible, and that can, something I always like work on with my interns and my students that I work with and I train. I'm all about like, what are ways that we can make it sound like we really know what we're doing, but you're maybe only putting one extra finger down, or you're just picking an extra finger up.
Right.
There's so many of those techniques and things that you can do that are pretty easy to play, but it makes you sound like, wow, they really know what they're doing.
Right. I think that sounds to me a little bit like what Daniel was trying to get towards, because we're not all Jake Shimabukuros, I think he did actually a spot. Yes. Well, go ahead.
He just came out with a master's class.
On the master's class channel, or
on that thing that I get before every YouTube video that
right.
I see.
Yeah, I know.
And so now I want to see Steve Martin, I want to see Penn and Teller, and I want to see Jake, and I can't afford to see any of them, but that's okay because you know, because Christmas is coming soon.
There you go.
I'm also
Yeah.
thinking how helpful it might be. So, you know, most of our patients that we work with that, you know, that we teach how to play the ukulele, you know, it's pretty beginner because they maybe have never touched an instrument before. You know, we're doing 1-2 finger chords. You know, the point isn't, you know, in music therapy, we're not teaching the ukulele to have them be playing. That's not our main goal. Our goal is for, you know, emotional expression and coping, pain and symptom management, neurologic or physical rehab. There's all those other non-musical goals. But every so often we do have patients that are musicians to begin with, and that are, I have one patient in particular that I'm thinking of, who I've worked with, I think the last 6 years or so. And he's an incredible musician. And basically anything I give him, I come back the next day and he's like, done. So we do have these kids and these young adults that we work with that are incredible musicians, and something like that we could give them that is more challenging but is still accessible. You know, because even if you're playing it for someone else, obviously it's calming and it's meditative for them. But a lot of times as a musician, if you're playing it, it's calming and meditative for you. So I'm also thinking of not only for our music therapists to be utilizing this, but for us to be able to show this to those you know, those patients that we have that have those skills and that want the challenge, for them to be able to use it for their own calming would just be amazing.
Sure.
Yeah, Stephanie, I think maybe you'd really like the first piece that's in the arpeggio meditation book, and it's available for free through Ukulele Magazine.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So that one is really simple because it goes chord-wise. It's like it goes C, the. It's like a really simple one hand. The changes are really, really super simple, and the arpeggio is just the straight down. Which, you know, there's some therapy going right there. I keep thinking, oh, I can just pick it up and do that, but I can't. So, but you'll like that one. It's really simple, and it's available for free.
Very cool.
Through the magazine. It's on their website, and then there's a free video lesson of him teaching it through Ukulele Magazine that's available through the magazine, and it's on YouTube somewhere.
Awesome.
I bet Doug Brown could find that link for you in
It is
no
already
time.
in there, so we're doing good.
All right.
So you're telling me I have a lot of practicing to do over the next week or so, right?
There you go. But you know what? The couple things we're going to wrap this up because I know we've got some of you have kids to take care of and so forth. Couple things. I forgot to give a shout out to Ukulele Magazine. So, you know, that's the Ukulele Magazine is one of the big magazines in the US. There's Uke Mag in the UK, and then there's one down under. What is the magazine there? But anyway, it's great if we could support them because, you know, especially during these times, it's tough for them. And Doug, if you would find the Uke Mag. Cam Uke, yes, that's the one down in Australia, I think.
Yes, indeed.
So that's a really cool thing.
Ukulele Magazine right now is struggling like the rest of us are, and I think they have a all access pass that they're offering people for. I don't know how much it is, but it's not very much. But they're hoping that people will be inspired to support the magazine and take all these wonderful things they have to offer at the same time. It's kind of
think it's like
a premium.
Yeah, like an all-in-one thing. I think it's like $100 or something, and it's all access, and you get all this and subscriptions and
back issues and all that. It's pretty great, and there's a lot of really good lessons in there taught by Daniel and Kathy Fink, Marcy Markser, Fred Sokolow, Stephen Espinola. There's great teachers, great lessons. It's a really good resource.
Awesome.
Well, Ukulele Magazine subscription to All Access is only $99 for a
There you
year,
go.
and just fantastic. And of course, there is a link in the show notes.
There will be a link in the show notes. Well, I want to wrap this up. It's been so great. I think there's a lot of really good stuff for synergy here, Stephanie, with the UKC, and because there's all these educators that we have, or a lot of these ukulele players are also ukulele teachers, and we've got some great ones. We've got Heidi and Daniel. We've got James Hill, and they've all been studying, figuring out how the best way to teach adults and teach kids. And so there's so many great resources here. And so if you ever need any of that, just let us know, and I'm sure they would love to help out in that way, both figuring out how to help out with the UKC, maybe in the hospitals, or helping train UKC therapists on how to use the ukulele better, and then all this kind of good stuff. So
Yeah, that would be absolutely incredible.
yeah, so we'll be in touch there. So let's wrap up here. What else is? Why don't you kind of summarize and let us know, Stephanie, what's happening with the UKC?
Oh goodness. One of the other big things that's going on right now that I completely slipped my mind is the UKC Band of the Year contest. So they are still accepting songs and competitors until August 30th. So if you go on to the UKC's Facebook page, and over on the side there's a tab that says UKC Band of the Year, and all of the information is on there. You can submit all your videos on there, and you can also vote for all of the videos and vote for all of the submissions there. So there'll be two different winners. The first winner will be whoever gets the most votes, and the second winner will be whichever organization raises the most money. So there's two different winners, and they're really, really cool trophies. They're awesome, and of course bragging rights. And
absolutely,
and check that out. And I would say, and definitely, going on to the Facebook page and the Instagram are really the best places to go, like I mentioned earlier. But also to see what's really happening on the ground every day. We have, music therapists submit pictures and videos and stories every day that we're posting constantly. So you can really see what's going on. What are these music therapists doing with these kids? What are these kids' stories from all over the country, all over the world? Yeah. How is the ukulele helping them? Whether it's helping them through their medical procedures, through their chronic illness, through difficult times, through difficult losses. So there's just it's really, really wonderful and heartwarming, even as a music therapist who sees it every day, to read all of these stories and see all of these pictures and videos of these absolutely incredible children and teenagers and young adults. And I think that's really one of the most important things, is that music and utilizing the ukulele in the hospital helps these kids just be kids. They're not a patient anymore. They're not, a kid laying in a hospital bed. They're just a kid. It gives them that sense of normalcy. It lets them just be a kid. And that's really one of the most important things that we can give to these children and families who are going through, things that as an adult, I can't even imagine, coping with and going through myself, let alone having a child going through that, or being a child or a teenager and a young adult and going through these, just absolutely insane things that we would never wish upon anyone.
Yeah, and it's awesome that the power of music and ukulele in particular can help them through that. So it's great to have you on the show. I've been wanting to get someone on the UKC for a while. So thanks so much for joining us. Heidi, it's so great to see you again. I know it was in December was the last time. Man, has it been that long already? So
Yeah.
What is going on with you? I mean, how are you going to play with your wrist? You gonna gonna sing along?
I think when Daniel comes back, I'll do the chording and he'll do the strums.
Yeah, nice, love it.
Work up an act. We were supposed this next month we were supposed to be in the Pacific Northwest all month. So since we can't physically go there, we are going to go there. We're going to Zoom that way, and we're going to be doing the Port Townsend Ukulele Festival online, which is one of my favorites. And we're going to be doing the Tunes in the Dunes online.
Yes. All
So,
right.
two beautiful places that we won't be, but but we'll all be together. And what the silver lining is that it's so much easier for people who've never been able to go to these events to come to Zoom in, because they're more accessible price-wise. You don't have to travel, and
I know.
we're going to have a whole bunch of really great classes, and both of these festivals have a real commitment to making them accessible monetarily, to making them affordable.
And I hope one of the things that comes out of all of this pandemic, when we do get back to quote normal, is that we will continue on with some of these things, because it was fantastic to have that ukulele festival that Sarah and Craig put on.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah.
What
And
Craig did was just, I mean, Craig and Sarah did, but
yeah,
Craig's the gearhead.
yeah,
And
and
what
Cameron
we
too.
got
I mean,
together was
Cameron was the linchpin there, because
oh, he's the star. Cameron,
a-
by the way, is their, I think he's now 7 months old.
yeah, he's getting ready to walk soon.
Yeah.
Or crawl.
Oh.
He's getting mobile. Awesome.
And
That's
they were
great.
that was the last place we went before lockdown. Like, I think we were hanging out with Craig and Sarah in San Diego 2 days before, so I guess that was the mid-March. We were down there visiting them.
Wow.
And I am so glad I got to play with Cameron. I got to have a fix. Oh.
He's the star. He
Yeah.
is. Well, great to have you back on the show. Mr. Doug, what's happening with you? Oh, it's a double dip month, isn't it?
It's a double dip month. So we meet the 3rd and the 5th Saturday. So so up this Saturday is going to be temperature songs. It's going to be fantastic. So that gets both the hot and the cold songs. So that should be really cool. I did want to say hi to Kermit. Hi, Kermit. But Kermit's sleeping over there, so I don't want to wake Kermit up. But I also wanted to put out the theory that the weird all over the map energy from last month. Boy, today we were just right on the we stayed on the path the entire time. It was great.
It was. And what we're going to have to do at these last few minutes is between Doug and Heidi, I haven't found a really good title for the show yet. So I don't know. You guys are going to have to brainstorm on this one really quickly.
It's all about
What's that?
It's all about the kids.
It's all about the kids. That's
all
a good
about
one.
The kids or Hi Kermit, one or the other. That's yeah. But yeah, so interesting and so much information. It's fantastic.
I know.
The show notes on this episode are like 6 emails long. It's great. Makes me seem like I'm really pulling my weight here.
You do. You are. And one of these days I want you to figure out how to get the gallery view on your computer so you can view this, because I keep screwing up on the I know I said it's recording, so can you upload this and we can put this on the YouTube channel if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll talk later. And Stephanie, I will definitely hook you and Heidi up. And there's so many great resources in the ukulele community. I would love to see more synergy with the Ukulele Kids Club. Would be great.
So nice to meet you, Stephanie.
Yeah. And it's nice to meet you too. I know that's definitely something that I want as well, Stuart. So I'm very, very excited for this collaboration.
Awesome. Okay, well, as we do on every show, on 3, we all say aloha. So is everybody ready here? Yes. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Aloha. All right.
Cool.
Cool.
See you guys later.
We'll see ya. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.